Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of The Bright Side of Life. Today is a very, very exciting day because I am talking to Joel Freeman. If you don't know who Joel Freeman is, he is a super trainer from Beachbody. And if you don't know what Beachbody is, it is a fitness and nutrition platform that you can do workouts from the comfort of your own home or wherever else you feel like working out. Today, we're going to talk about Joel's own fitness journey and get some of his best advice on health and nutrition and to see what Joel's up to these days. Joel, welcome to the bright side of life. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much. I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. I just laugh every time I hear super trainer. Um, I did not give myself that title, just so everybody knows, because I mean, if you're not in Beachbody or you're part of Team Beachbody, people are like, super trainer? Really? That's a little pretentious. And I'm like, it wasn't me, I promise. But no, I'm doing good, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, that is so funny because, like, of course, I go and look at people's bios, like different things, like, okay, go look at his Instagram, go look at this. And, like, I even notice, is that like newer? Because I did your program in 2019 and I'm like, did it say super trainer then? Which I will have to agree, but
Appreciate that. When we first came on, like when I first came into Beachbody as a trainer,
Mhm.
the team, we were called celebrity trainers,
Okay.
and then the boss man, El Jefe, CEO himself, he just was like, I think they're super. So we've been super ever since, and
That's
um,
awesome.
you know, it's a I don't take it lightly, but it's still just like I don't tell people I'm a super trainer
Right.
unless they know exactly what that means.
Right. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. They'd be like, "Yeah, okay, bro, whatever."
Yeah, exactly. Right. They're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, they're very pretentious. Okay.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay,
Yeah.
so I want to know how, first of all, you became interested in fitness and how did your whole fitness journey start?
Yeah. It's interesting. It's a long story. We'll make it quick. So I've been in health and fitness, the industry since I was 19, so 20 years now. And
Okay.
honestly, I got involved in it just because I needed a job. It had nothing to do with a passion for it. It just was simply like I needed a job. I was at the time I grew up in West Texas. So I was bartending. I was going to college. I wasn't really going to college. I was at college, and I wasn't going to classes because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't passionate about anything. I kept changing my
Right.
major and whatnot. And I framed houses. I bartended. I waited tables. I did all these different things, and then um, one of my friends said, "Hey, we got a front desk position at the gym, as a local gym, as a 24-hour, not a 24-hour fitness, but it was a 24-hour gym,
Sure.
and the 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. shift. It was the graveyard shift, and I was just tired of framing houses in the West Texas sun, and I was like, all right, cool, I'll do it. And that's literally how it started. Was just front desk, because it was such a crappy uh, shift and there was
Mhm.
nobody else there. I had to learn everything. I had to learn how to sell memberships and fix equipment, all that, because I was the only one there to do all this stuff. And just from there, I just really started moving up in the business side of it.
Yeah.
Wasn't really into working out or anything like that. I mean, like working out is in college type workout, like where you would go and do, 3 reps and then go have a cigarette.
Right.
Uh, so it wasn't anything specific in terms of the fitness side of it, but I was good at the business side of it and
Yeah.
have been good at the business ever since. And so from them, just worked my way up and was, then I lived up in Washington, state of Washington, Seattle area for 8 years, and just kept going. So I've managed gyms, I've run gyms, I've opened gyms, worked for the Washington State Department of Health for 4 years. So I just was always involved in that. And then through that, then I got more into the fitness aspect of it and started teaching group exercise classes and realized, mid to late 20, I guess in mid 20s, I was like, all right, maybe I should, if I'm going to, talk the talk, I should walk the walk.
Right.
So that's when I started lifting and finding my own fitness journey and the things that I'm passionate about. And then honestly, people ask me like, well, how do you become a Beachbody super trainer? Like, I have no idea. It just was after that long, you make friends, you make business relationships, and
Yep.
like any industry, the fitness industry is very incestuous in terms of like who used to work over here works over here, and vice versa, and they switch back and forth, and you just
Yeah.
start making those connections, and that's literally how simple it was, and just right place, right time, right people, knowing people and opportunities. And here I am.
That is so freaking cool. So, whenever you first found out about the opportunity, let's say about Beachbody, um, and obviously, did you know what Beachbody was before the opportunity came to you?
I did not. I was working for Gold's Gym,
Mm,
or I was working up in Washington. I was moving down to LA to be a director for Gold's Gym, Southern California franchise, and I was teaching group exercise classes for Les Mills, which is a group exercise choreography company out of New Zealand, Auckland, New Zealand. And I was going over there and doing photo shoots for them. Like, it was one of their cover models for their posters and stuff.
yeah.
And then when I was over there, I'd be teaching classes in their studio. And when I was there, just to do a photo shoot, I was teaching classes. That was when they had started talking with Beachbody about doing, because Beachbody was home fitness, Les Mills was group exercise, and they were talking about doing a collaborative program that was going to bring group exercise into the home fitness world, which ended up being Les Mills Pump. They were casting for it, videoed me, and that was my casting audition. I didn't even know it. So, and then they just called me like a year later and they said, "Hey, we're doing this. It's a collaborative program. We're bringing, 14 trainers from around the world. We want you to be one of them, or instructor from around the world." And that was my first. I was like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like my thing too. Is like, I would just always be like, "Okay, like try it. Let's try it. Like, if it doesn't
Right.
work, then I can always go back to do whatever we're doing." So I was just always kind of a yes man. And we filmed that, and that was my first intro into Beachbody. Went and did my first Beachbody Summit in Vegas in 2012, I think. Yeah. So, 10 years ago. And then just that partnership dissolved. But then by that point, I was working for Golds, and Beachbody was establishing their group exercise. So then I was helping them do that. Like, I was just always been around. I've just always
Yeah.
known these people and talked to people. And like I said, it's just always having conversations and being, saying yes and trying
Right.
things. Yeah.
Which is a huge, huge thing you need to remember.
Yeah.
So there's some things I talk a lot about, like manifestation, and I don't know like that much about it except for practicing gratitude like raises your vibration and stuff you put out in the universe and all this stuff. And one of my things I really want to do is I want to do public speaking besides like podcasting. I want to go talk on stages and so on and so forth. And I just recently had somebody reach out to me about applying for their event they're going to have in Arizona.
Yeah.
And I read like the application and I started telling myself, like, oh my gosh, what topic? I don't know a topic. I'm not knowledgeable enough. And then I'm like, Melissa, this is literally like what you've been asking the universe for. Like, so figure out how you're going to do it later. Just say
Yeah.
yes now.
Yeah.
And
That's
it,
that's it. That's it, Melissa. It really is it. I mean, like, I've said yes to so many things, and then thought about
yeah,
it. Where
yep,
you're just like, where you kind of go, "Oh, uh-oh." And then you have that freak out moment,
yeah,
or whatever it is. But one of the things through all this, and do posts every day and try motivational stuff, and the fitness aspect of it, is where I've done for myself is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's been a big thing for me over the years of daring myself and pushing myself to try something, even if whatever it may be.
yeah,
But that's the only way you're going to level up, because they're called comfort zones for a reason. So
yep,
if you just sit in that comfort zone, there's not. And if you're cool with that, then great. But the minute you say you want more, like you're talking about, then you got to level it up, and you got to be uncomfortable with it
yeah,
for a while. But then you kind of get, like I say, you kind of get comfortable in that world, and you're like, and then you kind of get excited about it. Like, I look forward to new and different things. I am not a type of person that sits still very long.
right,
Constantly looking at what can I do different, and this doesn't mean just from the fitness world, but like just daily projects. I'm looking
right,
for stuff, because I've gotten used to that, and I don't want to be stagnant. And I think
yep,
looking at that, as you said, manifesting it, you can manifest what you want, but then when the opportunity presents itself, you have to recognize it and you have to say yes to it, versus being like, "Oh no, I'm not ready for it." Well, then you're never going to be ready for it.
yeah, exactly. And that's something I had to tell myself even like a couple weeks ago. Like, a really big opportunities are happening for me, and it's scary as hell because you'll tell yourself certain reasons of why it can't work out. And I just lost my train of thought. Hang on, what was I going to say? Oh, the the brain wants us to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like that's its only job is to keep us safe and not taking risks.
Mhm.
And when you realize it, like literally this is just normal, but then you do have to go outside your comfort zone and like you said, then that will actually be comfortable because you keep like leveling up and leveling up and leveling up.
Yeah.
Um and it's just so important to remember that cuz I need that reminder sometimes.
Yeah.
Like Melissa, this is supposed to be scary, but do it anyway.
Yeah, I think that's why also you want to surround yourself with people who make you level up and make you do those things, and that's what I've done. I've surrounded myself with my friends and my guy group and all these. I mean, we like if I'm not going to make myself do it, they're going to be like, dude, you need to suck it up and get it done.
Yeah.
So it's good to surround yourself and with those people. And I say this a lot too, is like, look, if you're not surrounding yourself with those people, it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter. Like sometimes you got to make some really hard choices and hard decisions in your life to maybe those people won't be in your life anymore. But
Yep.
again, if you're okay with that, cool. But if you can't say you want something different and then not do anything different to get it.
Yep. 100%. 100%. Okay. So we've kind of been into Beachbody, and I did not even realize it was 2012. So a little bit of my backstory. I have only been successful doing Beachbody. I've tried to do the gym a long time ago. I know how I operate. And so my very first experience with Beachbody was freaking Shaun T and Insanity.
Yeah.
I've done that program 4 times. I saw incredible results. And then 2019, I did 80-day obsession. And then immediately after that, I did Lift 4. I think I've done your program like 3 or 4 times.
That's awesome.
And so I've just always gotten amazing results from Beachbody. I'm like, I don't need to go to a gym. I just want to stay here
Yeah.
in my house.
Right.
So with that being said, you have Lift 4 and then you have 10 rounds. Are those your 2 programs on Beachbody or do you have more?
So those are my 2 solo programs.
Okay.
They've been quite successful. My first program that I came in as a super trainer was Core to Force, which is a 30-day MMA style training program that was I did with my teammate Jericho McMatthews.
Okay.
That was our first round. We did that in 2016, I think. Body weight only, MMA style training, and it's a 30-day shredding program. It's epic.
Yeah.
So if anybody has any interest in how, we basically went in and I had dabbled in MMA and that style of training for a long time, but we really went in and hammered the training element of it. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, mixed martial arts, kickboxing, all the different disciplines and combine them to do an at-home, no equipment workout for 30 days. So it is a brutal program in terms of it'll get you shredded in 30 days. So that was my first collaborative that was my first program being exclusively a Beachbody super trainer. Live 4 was my first debut as a solo trainer. And that one is, we hit we're over 100 million views now on that one, which is just incredible. First program to hit that. And it's just, so we got the formula right on that one. 10 rounds came out in 2020. 21?
I think it's 20.
I think it's 20. Yeah. I keep it all straight these days. But it was a lot of fun. Boxing is is the one passion that has stuck with me. Boxing and weightlifting, those are my 2 things.
Okay.
So boxing, we really wanted to bring a shadow boxing style workout to Beachbody on demand. We shot it 6 different cities across the country, which was awesome. And we just had so much fun with that program, and it just is still something that's very near and dear to my heart. So those are the 3 that I have, and then now we have Beachbody On Demand Interactive, BODI, that launched a few months ago. That now I fly in every month now, and we film all those classes live, and then they go into the library. So we're just constantly churning content and getting as much content as possible.
And that's exactly why I love Beachbody so much, because I've obviously have gotten older. Like when 10 or 11 years ago when I did Insanity, cool. I don't know if I could do it being 36 years old now. It would kick my ass. And so I just like that there's other things like low impact or even yoga, meditation. Like it literally runs the gamut on Beachbody of different options.
Beachbody on Demand, and now with Beachbody on Demand Interactive, we have seriously, I mean, you want to talk about the biggest fitness workout library on the planet. There's no question that we have it. And I don't just say that because I work for the company. I say it just because like it's true. I mean, I can look at it from a business perspective and know we have the most content in the world, and we just continue to pump it out, and it's world-class content. I mean, we have the best trainers in the world. We have the best team behind some of the trainers in the world, but behind all of us in terms of quality control. Like, it's not just us going on Instagram live or filming a workout that we think is going to be great that day. We have, there are teams of people that are looking at from the safety standpoint, from the nutrition standpoint, from all this stuff. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of people involved in these. So it's like, you're guaranteeing yourself the best quality programming that is effective. We test it. Every single program that I come out with, we test it multiple rounds. So if it's an 8-week program, we're testing it at least 3 times through. So that's 24 weeks of testing to make sure that this works, that it's effective. And for me, then it's got to be a little fun too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I loved about Lift 4. I liked Lift 4 so much because after 80-day obsession, I did not skip a single day for Autumn's thing, which I was super proud of. So then when your program, like, that's what I decided to do next. I'm like, there's off days in the middle of the week and I can have a cheat meal. Oh my God. Thank you. Like, yours seemed like a piece of cake after, like, no offense, but I was happy for the off days.
Yeah. Look, there's the way to think about it is there are 320 something million people in the United States, right? 80% of the population is overweight. That 80% hasn't moved. That needle hasn't moved. Anything is going up. There's enough to go around. And what we do is we create these programs. That's why our team is so amazing, because every single one of our team, between Autumn and Sean and Jericho and Elise and Dallas and Megan and Awala, I mean, all of our team, we all have our different specialties and we all have our different draws. And there are so many people in the world. Like, so Dallas did 30-day breakaway. There are people out there that love to run. So great. We capture that audience. I don't like running. I like to box. And there's people that want to learn how to box. So I capture that audience. So we're just, that's why we're constantly churning out content, because what works for one person is not going to work for another. So that was like, okay, great. Let's find something that's going to work for them. So it's not, there's never any competition aspect on this. We work with the CEO of the company, Carl Deichler. He's our boss. We don't report to anybody else. We work with him directly to say to look at what's missing in the library. What can we bring on here? What do we need? And how do we just reach more people? At the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do, is just reach more people and get them moving.
Yeah. And I love that because, like I said, as I have gotten older, I've had to look at different workouts. Like, okay, what's going to work for my knees? Like right now I'm doing the bar workout. That's Elise, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I love that. Like, no impact. Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is like, even Sean, I mean, I love the guy to death. And when we were all hanging out last year together, he was like, let's do an insanity workout. And I did like half of it. I'm like, you're crazy, dude. Like, cause I've had my slew of injuries over the years too. And I was like, the back isn't going to handle this. So everybody's different. Everybody has their thing. And that's what's great about it. And what it comes down to is you got to find, like you're saying, find what keeps you moving, keeps you consistent, because it's one thing if you do Lift 4 for 8 weeks, that's great.
Yeah.
But if you don't do anything for the next 8 weeks, then you just undid everything you just worked for. So it's developing that fitness and health consistency, because that long-term consistency is where you see the ultimate results, and they stick around too.
Yep. That is so true. Okay. So let's kind of get into consistency, because I'm going to be totally transparent here. 2019 was my year. I did 80-day obsession. I did Lift 4. I think like I said, 3 or 4 times. I was on it. And that was probably the most consistent I had ever been. I'm 6 feet. I never really had to work out. I was 155 pounds most of my 20s. So I wasn't always like looking to lose weight, even though I did insanity 4 times. And then I got, I think, too skinny. Anyways. Then 2020 hit and all of that went to shit. Like, legit, I drank, I was depressed, I ate whatever, and I literally gained it all back. Okay. So now here we are in 2022 and I'm trying to stay consistent. And I know if I would have looked back on that, and if I would have just done even 3 to 4 times a week, I would not be like where I am now, which is not like totally like, oh my God, I can never come back from this. But can you just explain why consistency is so important? We'll just stop there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, I think I don't think that anybody will argue the fact that we need consistency in our health and fitness, right? In anything, right? To develop healthy habits. So
Yeah.
there's not an argument there. But the problem lies in how do you create it and how do you sustain it? For me, I like to oversimplify things in life because I truly believe it is that simple. And
Mhm.
it's so let's just talk about from the workout perspective first. The workout perspective, you just have to work out more days a week than you don't. Like oversimplification. There's 7 days a week. Get 4.
Yeah.
So hello, lift 4. Ta-da. So like just work out more days than you don't. And if you do that, then you'll start to develop that consistency because then it becomes a routine. It becomes a habit. And that's I think is literally as easy as it is, but you have to find what excites you. You can't and again, that goes back to content and it's looking at
Mhm.
trying things. You say you're doing bar blend right now. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's certain elements of that program that you look forward to doing.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Lift 4. There's the same thing with people that are doing any program, 8-day obsession or morning meltdown or whatever it is. There has to be an element of it that you look forward to. Like again, it goes back. I love weightlifting and boxing. So I woke up this morning and went and lifted. And I was like, I woke up knowing I'm going to go do that, but I look forward to it because I like how I feel afterward.
Right.
If I had to go run, I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't do it because
Right.
I don't like running. I don't like jogging. It's not anything like nothing about that interests me. And that's just me personally. But there's people out there that love to run and
Right.
they love the high. They love the endorphins. They love all this stuff, which I'm like, great, Godspeed, go run, go forest, dump the hell out of it and
Yeah.
enjoy yourself. So you have to find those things that you look forward to. Don't force yourself into doing something because if you're forcing yourself into doing it, I mean, look, adults are we're bigger than babies because we don't have anybody telling us that we have to go do it versus kids, your parents are telling you. So we tend to be bigger babies. So if it's something that I don't want to do, I'm a damn adult. I ain't going to do it. So, you got to find something that you enjoy to do. And that's the number one thing from the fitness perspective, because then that will create your consistency. From the nutritional standpoint, I truly believe it is that simple as well. We all know what we should and shouldn't eat. There's not a question of that anymore. Like it's like there's so much stuff out there. And I'm going to oversimplify. I'm not talking about vegan or any of
Keto.
the I'm not crazy. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. I'm just talking about every single day-to-day nutrition. You know that the McDonald's drive-through is not where you should go. There's other places you can do better.
Yep.
It really is that simple. So but then it goes back to like, how bad do you want it? And, I know that the times are crazy, time element of it and children and this and that. But I think I think if people just say, okay, if we just taper it back a little bit, take the fried food out of it. We all know that we shouldn't eat fried. I love fries. I really do. I love fried food too. I just know I shouldn't eat it every single day. So it goes back to if you work out more days a week than you don't, and if you eat fairly well, fairly better most days of the week than you don't, then you're already on the right path and you're going to start to see results. And then it gets into the thing, okay, now I have specific goals. I want to lose 20 pounds. Okay, well, if you want to lose 20 pounds, then you have to say, I'm going to give up certain things to do that. I'm going to make sacrifices. And when I say sacrifices, the things that you're putting in your mouth. So, it's just, you can go very, very simple and overgeneralize on more days a week than not. And then once you can do that, then you'll start to see it's a little bit easier just to get into that nitty gritty and say, okay, now I want to build muscle. Okay, that means I need to lift, and that means I need to do this, and that means I need to do that. And then you can start going down that rabbit hole. But for now, for people, I just think to come back from the past year and a half, which we know have been crazy, it's going to continue to be crazy for a while. There's always going to be something, you guys. I was talking to someone about this not too long ago, and they're like, well, yeah, once COVID's over, I'm like, okay, COVID will never be over. It's just part of our lifestyle now. So And then there'll be something else. It's always going to be something. What you do is you just adapt your lifestyle to where you can still be healthy and happy as much as possible with what we're surrounded by, because we're always going to be surrounded by craziness. There's no question about that.
100%. And that's why Beachbody worked for me so well, is because I was honest and real with myself. I've already was working from home most of the time, especially like these last 3 years. So I'm like, I know that I'm not going to have motivation to get to a gym. I was just honest with myself, and I'm like, and that's okay. For
Yeah.
some people, if they want to go out and watch or walk or run or whatever. But the thing that I really liked about you and your programs is I am very, very much a perfectionist. Like, if I'm going to do something, I'm doing it 200%. And then when I even fall off the wagon a little bit, I beat myself up like, oh
Right.
my God, I just totally ruined these past 79 days because I ate on the 80th day. So when I started with your program, I did, even on like on your Instagram, I'm like, you just keep it real for people. Like, you like your cheeseburgers, and that's okay to enjoy them.
Yeah, I do.
And I've been on both ends of the spectrum where I have been so damn hard on myself and extremely successful. But now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I want to still enjoy life. I still want to have my wine. I still want to lose weight. So I have to be honest with myself of like what's going to give, what's not, what I need to do. And there's no set, like what works for somebody might not work for another person in terms of like the workout. And like you said, not necessarily like, okay, calorie deficit, duh, that's going to be the thing, but it's just important to do what works best for you.
Yeah, and that calorie deficit thing is, look, that's just science. That's nutrition 101, right? You got to be in
Yep.
some sort of caloric deficit to lose weight. But that and people go down that rabbit hole so much, like, should I do intermittent fasting? Should I do this? Should I do that? But I think it can still go back to like, just stop eating the crap. Like, we know what it is. There's not a question of it. And I promise, every time I talk to somebody, like, I promise, because I'll ask them, like, okay, what do you eat in a day? Like, just write down what you eat for like 3 days or a week, like,
Yep.
journal it. And then I guarantee if you go back and you look at, you can just take a line item and say, nope, 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 nope. And if you just cut those nopes out, then I promise you'll see some sort of results just in that regard. Like, it really is that simple. And then if you really want to go down that rabbit hole and say, I want specific results, then you got to do it. But if you want those really dialed in specific results, then you got to really be dialed in and disciplined. It's that reality of it. And,
Yep.
and then when you get to a point where you're happy with your shape, I call it my happy shape. I'm at my happy shape where I'm not, and my happy shape changes a little bit. Like right now, it's, because I'm in project mode, so I'm busy, so it's a little bit different. But when I'm not in project mode, I'm definitely not thinking as much about what I'm eating or drinking. And, especially when it comes to the summer, I'm going to be on the lake a lot, and there's going to be beer. There's going to be, just grabbing whatever food we can because we're having so much fun. Like, and I just don't care because I'm having the best time of my life. But I know that's coming. So if you kind of think of it as there's all these different ways to think about it, but you can think of it like as bookends, right? As long as both ends of your shelf have the bookends, like you're bookending your life with fitness and nutrition, and so because it's not going to be every weekend,
Right.
the weeks that you don't have anything going on, then hammer it, get your workouts in, get your nutrition in. So then when something is coming up, you can really enjoy it. And like when you go on vacation, when you go down to Mexico, when you go to this place, then the last thing you should be thinking about is what you put in your mouth, and you just enjoy the hell of it. And you might have even gained 5 to 8 pounds. And then you come back and you're going to lose it. Like so many people are just, like they go on vacation, they're not having near as much fun because they're not enjoying it. Like, oh my God, like why? Why would you do that?
I know. I'm the same way. We own an RV, and so in the summer, like that's what we're doing probably 2 to 3 times out of every like month on the weekends. And I used to beat myself up over that. And I'm like, no, Melissa, you just have to work out more or eat healthier during Monday through Friday. Like it's got to be a balance. If
Monday through Friday is honestly, for me, that's kind of how I've
right.
stuck with it, where I'm pretty on point Monday through Friday. I get my workouts in, I get I'm pretty good on nutrition. I still have my whiskey at night. Like that's how I relax. I have one little whiskey and I'm good to go. But that's kind of how that's been my consistency for the most part. But in doing that, it allows me to relax on the weekends because I know I'm gonna have stuff coming up. And then also, if a Wednesday rolls around, I'm like, you know what? I want a cheeseburger and a beer. Then I go out and I have the cheeseburger and the beer, and I don't worry about it because I know the next day I'm right back to it. So, but I'm able to do that now because I've spent years developing my consistency. But with anybody, you just find what works and just don't overthink it, man.
Right. Which I'm very good at doing. I was gonna say something and now I forgot what it was. It was something to do with consistency. Okay, well, whatever. That's what I was gonna ask you. Does Beachbody, whoever, like, they're obviously okay with you posting that stuff, like in terms of you eating unhealthy or whatever, and I think that's important because we have to know even people that do this for a living and getting paid for a living are still out there eating the cheeseburger and drinking their beer and having their favorite drinks. So they're fine with that, I'm assuming.
Well, yeah, I mean, the world of health and fitness has changed over the years, and I think, and especially in the world of social media, right? Where we have gone from, to me anyway, this is how I see it, and this is how I interpret it, and this is how I use my social media platform. The social media aspect of it is very much up to us. It's very individualized. Beachbody doesn't tell us what we can and can't do. There's obviously some common sense that comes with that, hopefully. And look, I personally, I see nothing wrong with the cheeseburger. I really don't. I just shouldn't have one every single day. And I don't see anything wrong with pizza. I just shouldn't have it every single day. So that's just what I call real life. And Beachbody supports us and knows that we're all real and we all have our things. And now it's one thing if I'm posting me drinking a 12-pack of beer every single day, then that's obviously not a healthy lifestyle. But I think what I portray and the rest of my team portrays pretty well, especially nowadays, is a real lifestyle.
Yes.
And some are more into it than others. And that's what makes us all different in certain elements and certain respects. And that's all good. So, that's why we're all different in our own ways. But I think we all portray a pretty realistic lifestyle from a lot of different standpoints. And that's why we relate to some and others and vice versa. So, that's just my thing. And what I post about, what I talk about is I talk about obviously consistency but I've also made sure that I always do post that picture with the cheeseburger to show people that's like, no, guys, this is actually what I do.
Right.
And I am real with it. And now I really want a cheeseburger. Talking about so much.
I know. Thanks for that.
Oh, let's go ahead.
Okay. So kind of to go along with this subject that we're talking about, you are obviously in the public eye and a lot of people know who you are. Do you ever feel there is a pressure that you have to be a certain way? Even in terms of, it could be from happy to eating what you want to you feel like you just can't sometimes have a bad day or that could be magnified.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, we're very, I call myself an F list celebrity. Because it's definitely below D list. It's a very small bubble. But at the same time, it is there. And, the people on social media who are following me are always watching and, they like to see that element of it. I struggle with it sometimes myself still. I personally don't like it. I never wanted any sort of fame on any level. I've never been interested in that. I never wanted this aspect of it, but I also know the power that we have with it and how we can use it to help other people. So that's really how I embrace it. And I try to show some elements into my day-to-day personal life, but I try to keep it I don't want to go too far down that road because I truly don't I don't feel like I should, and I don't feel like it's anybody else's business. People should be more worried about their own life than mine, but I get it. And that's why I try to show some certain things. So pressure wise, I go back and forth on it, and when I talk to people about this all the time, I'm always like, I mean, if it wasn't for this job, and if it wasn't for what I was doing on a daily basis and everything, like I probably wouldn't even be on social media. Like there's so many other things I'd rather be doing around the house and projects and this and that. But like I said, I know the power that comes with it. I I've chosen to keep my platform positive.
Mhm.
So if I'm not having a good day, or if I'm not feeling it or something like that, then I don't really share that, because that's just not something that I want to share. It doesn't happen very often. Like I'm not usually in those spots, but I don't know. I like my page just being positive.
Yeah.
I do say sometimes in posts, like I have bad days. I mean, the past few months have been crazy, a lot of personal life changes, and moving, and personal aspects of it. And I think a lot of people know about that, but that's about as far as I go with it. And I just thank people for their support and move on. But I've just chosen to keep my page as a positive page, and from that element, and just hopefully people draw inspiration on that. And what I tell people too is, like, if you don't find my page inspiring, then hopefully you can go find someone else that inspires you. But I just choose to keep it that way, because I feel that creates a consistent message as well.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's a fake message. I think I still keep it pretty real. I'm not saying every day is rainbows and unicorns, but for the most part, I keep it, just at least try to keep it motivational and positive.
Yeah. And for me, like, not that you're asking for feedback, but that's exactly what I do get from your Instagram. I feel like it is very real. It's really honest. Some days you'll say, not every day is going to be rainbows and unicorns, and that just puts a human element into you. And
Yeah,
there are so many, people that look up to you, especially, men, and they're like, "Oh, like, yeah, it's okay if we have a bad day, or have that piece of food we're not going to talk about because we both want it." Like, it
yeah.
just helps a lot.
Yeah, and I don't, yeah, because I've never been that type of person either. Just personality trait. I've never been that type of person to come out and be like, "Oh, I'm having a bad day. I want to talk about it." Like for me, if shit happens, and there's been a lot of it lately,
Yeah.
and so for me though, social media is not where I want to go to talk about that. I
Right.
prefer to just go and do something, do a project, or work on something, and refocus and get my own thoughts in order, versus just going on to social media on my stories, which I see a lot of people do, and to each their own, but just talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. I'm just like, I don't know. I could never do that. That doesn't sit well with me.
Sure.
So, no one's ever going to see that on my page.
Yeah. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's kind of talk about, cuz my podcast talks a lot about mental health. So obviously, you do fitness and health, and obviously fitness helps a lot with your mental health. Is there anything else you do to help take care of your mental health?
I mean, me, it's just knowing that I'm striving for my ultimate happiness, and that changes.
Mhm.
It wasn't what I thought it was going to be 10 years ago. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be 5 years ago. We evolve, we change. And so I'm just constantly asking myself, am I doing what I need to do to be happy? And sometimes, if the answer is no, then it comes with some hard decisions. It comes with pain. It comes with, a lot of, uh, uncomfortableness in some respects. But from the mental health standpoint, sometimes it just means that I need to take a step back, reset, rethink, and then be like, all right, great. And trial and error, man. I mean, I have made the mistakes and tried things where I'm just like, "Ooh,
Mhm.
that didn't work." But as long as you make the mistake once, only once, and then you learn from it, then you're moving forward. So that's me. Like a lot of people ask, like, what do I do for personal development in terms of I read books and things like that, and I don't, because I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't have time. So for me, my personal development is building things. Love woodworking and building furniture and stuff like that, and then just working on stuff and constantly just finding new projects and finding new things to do, and then just asking myself, am I doing what makes me happy every day? And
Yeah.
if the answer is no, then I'm like, all right, now I need to take the step back. I need to re-examine, reevaluate, and figure out what my next steps are.
Yeah. And I feel like for some people, they don't have to have this crazy like mental health routine, like for me, I do because I suffer from depression and anxiety and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like for my boyfriend, he's never really struggled with that. So he doesn't, do meditation or write in his journal or anything like that. And that is okay. You don't have to do that either. And, that's okay.
Yeah. Well, and look, I want to be very clear. I'm speaking from a very general standpoint on a lot of the subjects we're talking about. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about anything specific when it comes to specific health issues or specific, mental health issues or any of that stuff. So
Right.
obviously, if there's a specific issue, then yeah, you need to go and go down the proper path in terms of professionals and speaking with people to find out what you need to do to handle that stuff. Yeah, but from a general, and I don't have any depression issues or any stuff or any history of that stuff. So, but if I did, then you can bet your butt that I would go in and talk to somebody to make sure I was doing what I needed to do to handle that for sure. So, yeah, I just
Yeah.
want to be very clear with everybody that
Yeah.
in general, that Joel's like not saying you go do these things because I try to keep it from a general perspective because that's how I address
Yep.
it and how I talk to people.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're gonna take like the craziest, weirdest turn
Okay.
because I do want to ask this. So we're gonna go back to like your healthy eating and all that stuff. Do
Okay.
you have well, okay, this is gonna be a two-part question. What is your go-to healthy meal? And then, and let's just say for dinner or whatever. You say whatever you want to. Your favorite healthy meal, and I'll
Okay.
just let you pick. But then my next question is do you have any weird like people think is weird, but it's healthy and you like could eat it all the time?
Oh, okay. Um, Favorite healthy meal? I mean, I'm a protein guy. So anything steak or chicken, I'm a fan of. I love making we call them Joel burgers that I've made over the years. My dad gave me the recipe, so I love making. I mean, I could do burgers and don't need the bun and just throw a bunch of stuff on it. And then
Yeah.
I love throwing veggies on the grill. So, burger and veggies are definitely one of my favorites on that one. In terms of food that I would eat that like healthy food, I don't think I
Do you want me
have
to give
anything.
you an example?
Give me an example because nothing's coming to mind right now.
Okay, so cottage cheese I'm obsessed with.
Okay. I
Like
do like
people
cottage
think
cheese.
that's really weird.
I do like cottage cheese.
Okay, and my
Um,
next one,
okay.
sauerkraut.
Oh yeah. It's supposed to be good for I think I keep hearing it's supposed to be good for your gut health.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's like a natural probiotic, right?
yeah. It's weird. I'm not a picky eater per se. Like there's things I don't like. Like I don't like curry um, or ginger. Those are the two things that I'm just
Okay.
like, I can't deal with it. But like I'm just trying to think of like my staples in the fridge, like my go-to snack. Like I'm such a protein guy, so I'm always going for meats. So I love having like fresh deli meat in the fridge,
Yeah.
and like I love a good slice of like sharp cheddar.
Yep.
So like throughout the day, if I'm working on something and I'm hungry, I'll just go in and I'll just make a little meat and cheddar like a little roll, and I'm good, and then I'm good to go. Like so. I could eat that I do eat that. I eat that every day
Yep.
for the most part. But yeah, I mean, like sauerkraut, I love it. Cottage cheese, I love. I always forget about cottage cheese for some reason, but every time I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. Yeah,
My I have like I'm obsessed with cottage cheese and sauerkraut. My boyfriend like hates me
probably not
cooking
at the same
sauerkraut.
time though.
What'd you say?
Probably not at the same time. I think
Oh
that might.
God, no. No, 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 no. But I do weird stuff. Like I eat cottage cheese and mix it with rice. Like I did that a lot when I was doing Insanity because I'm like protein, carb, I need them both.
It takes care of both. It does take care of both.
Yeah. Okay. So if you could share advice for someone who is new to working out and trying to live a heavy, no, trying to live a healthy lifestyle,
Yeah.
what would your first advice be?
Um, for someone just jumping into this, the thing I could tell you is tell people is number one, don't overthink it, and number two, be realistic. So if someone's coming in and they're, the past couple years have hit them hard, and let's just say 20 pounds, 25
Mhm.
pounds overweight. They want to lose 25 pounds. Um, what I tell people is it didn't take you 8 weeks to gain 20 pounds or 25. It took you 2 years, right? So you have to be realistic in your expectations. So you're not going to do one of my programs and lose 25 pounds in 8 weeks or
Yep.
6 weeks or four or whatever it is. So many people come into it thinking like, oh, I'll do this one program one time and I'll get all my results back. And that's not how it works. So you got to be realistic in your expectations. I think I just posted about that yesterday. Realistic expectations aren't so
Yes.
real anymore because people go in there and they just assume that for 8 weeks is going to give them all the results they've ever wanted. Well, you got to think about how long did it take you to get to the point where you're at right now, where you finally said, I need to do this. And if it's, God forbid, and this is just reality though, if it's 40 pounds, 50 pounds more,
Yeah.
it's going to take you a while, but you just have to get that consistency going. And if you find the things that you enjoy doing from the workout perspective, from the nutrition perspective, then you will start seeing those results. And then it's just whittling away. It's just chipping away at it. Every little thing is going to make a big difference. And then, looking at it and really thinking about those daily wins.
Mhm.
Start at the day. Start with a daily win. Did you work out today? And did you eat the best you possibly could? And if you get 2 yeses, then do it the next day. If there's a no, say, all right, then tomorrow I'm going to go for 2 yeses. If you
Yeah.
and then the more you can get 2 yeses, you're just going to chip away at it. You set those realistic expectations. We've heard the SMART goals, all these different things
Yeah.
are out there. But if you just do that and you just start chipping away at, then next thing you know, you just made it a week. Then you just made it 2 weeks. And then you just made it 8 weeks. And then you're like, okay, I lost 10 pounds in 8 weeks. Great. Maybe more, maybe 16, 2 pounds a week. That's usually the healthiest, amount that you want to go for. But then just keep going. So it's like if I lost 10 pounds in 8 weeks, if I did another 8 weeks, I'll lose another 10 pounds. Right? It's like,
Boom.
do the math. Yay, there's your 20 pounds. So it just is a matter of staying with it, but trying to stay as realistic as possible in your expectations, because it's not going to happen. It never happens as quick as we want. Guaranteed.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No.
Idiot. We all want that. I want bigger calves. It ain't going to happen overnight. I've been working for it for 20 years. Okay. So it's just, and you got to remember, we also have genetics that we're messing with too.
Yeah.
So, the Freeman family, we got small calves. Thanks, Dad and Uncle. But it's just the reality of it. And you just got to work through that stuff.
Yeah. I won't show you my boyfriend's calves. He has huge calves. I'm like, how in the hell? Like, he has huge, like, he's just a big guy. Like,
Two of my friends were born with them. I swear to God. Like, I'm just like, dude, you sneeze and your calves get
yeah.
big. Like, it just,
Yeah.
so we all have those things. We all have the parts of our body that we wish we could change and everything. But it's just, it's just try to stay consistent as possible and working towards your best life and just being happy, man. Like, if you just got to be happy. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Too many unhappy people right now.
Yeah. One of the biggest things, like, since I have seen the results time and time and time again, I am that much more hopeful.
Yeah.
I just know it's hard for people that try it and then they don't see those results in 2 weeks and then they just want to give up. I can't do that anymore because I've seen the results so many damn times that I'm like, I know the formula. Sorry, excuse me.
All right.
That I'm like, yeah, it's going to work. It's going to. And so I just want to encourage people. You have to give it longer than 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and just track your results in any way that you can, whether it's inches or you didn't have a soda today, all this stuff. And you're going to see the results. You just can't give up. And this is coming from me, who has done it several times. I've lost weight, I've gained muscle. And obviously Joel, who's gained muscle and done all this stuff, like the results will come.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
That was very, very well put.
Yes. Okay, Joel, if you were not doing this as a profession, what would you be doing?
That was a good question. I don't know. I have no idea. Like, I've been doing this for so long now. Yeah, I really have no clue.
Would you be an MMA fighter if you could?
No, I got I have sparred before. I've taken a kick to the head and I've been punched in the face, and I didn't like either of those things.
Yeah.
So no, I will not be doing that. But I don't know. Like I love doing things. I love building things. I love doing things with my hands. So I did construction a long time ago. It's a lot of work, but maybe having a remodeling company or something like that could be fun. I like projects. So I
Yeah.
like having a project in mind and then seeing it come to fruition at the end. That's why I love even making programs where we conceptualize and we do it, we build it, we test it, we do all these different things, and then I get to see the finished product at the end. So I think something like that I could definitely see myself doing. I thought a long time ago about having a bar slash restaurant. I think that could be fun. I know it's a lot of work because I've done it, like waited tables
Yes.
and bartended,
My
so
God.
it is a lot of work. But I don't know. I've always just been a people person,
Mhm.
so I feel like I'd have to do something that involve people.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I've done this for so long now. I can't think of myself doing anything else.
Yeah. That's awesome. Great answer. Yeah, I do not understand like the crazy people in MMA. We watch it all the time religiously.
Oh
Like I'm obsessed with watching it. I don't know how. Like when I first started, I would like close my eyes, and now I'm like, okay, I'll watch it up until there's blood and then I'm done. But
yeah.
it is so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've trained with some of these guys, and the level of training is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I love it too. Like there's a fight this weekend, I'll be watching it. So I'm the same. I love it, but I have zero interest in being involved in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't blame you at all. Okay. Just another couple more questions. So is there anything that you have coming up in terms of Beachbody that you haven't had a program out in a while, so you have anything coming up?
I do. It's
Yay.
funny you should ask that. So we've only teased it, but there is something coming out this summer. If you go to my social media, you can see the teaser on it, and there'll be more coming on it. But yes, there's another program that I'm working on. Um, Looks like there's some weights involved. So for anybody who's been waiting for another weightlifting program from me, I think everyone's gonna be pretty happy with this one. So
Perfect.
that's all I
Perfect.
can say, that's all I can say about that.
Yes.
But
Well,
next month, in the spring, next month, March, there'll be more coming in March. So more details coming soon.
awesome. Okay, so we have to be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Joel, I just have one more question for you, and I ask all of my guests this question. Sorry, I'm blindsiding you.
Okay.
But in your own words, what does the bright side of life mean to you?
Well, that is a good question.
I love
What
it.
does bright side of life mean to me? That The bright side of life means, I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, is asking myself every day, am I doing what makes me happy? Um, and surrounding myself with people who make me happy, putting myself in environments that make me happy, and removing myself from the other environments or removing people, making those hard decisions so when I wake up every morning, I'm happy about it. And
Yeah.
I don't, I mean, it's not to say that, look, there's always going to be things we have to do. That's just called being an adult. That sucks sometimes. But for the most part of just waking up, I want to wake up every morning and feel happy about where I am, uh, who's in my life, friends, family, everybody. And that doesn't exclude anybody. I mean, like like I've made some hard decisions with family too, where I'm just like, they're just not benefiting me. So
Right.
they're not in my life. I mean, I don't care who it is. Like, that is my mental health is mine and my happiness is mine. And I feel like that I'm responsible for both. And it's nobody else's job or nobody else's business to provide that happiness. It's up to me. And so that's what I constantly do. I constantly strive for. It's a learning experience. It continues to be a learning experience, and it doesn't go without hitches and BS and all kinds of stuff and stuff that has happened even recently where I'm like, didn't see that coming. but
Yeah.
I do know that I woke up this morning. I was excited about waking up this morning and getting the day going. And I think that's the bright side of life is being happy where you are and making those decisions, knowing that might be a little uncomfortable now, but in the future, when you wake up, you're going to be happy you did it.
Yeah. Great explanation. Well, Joel, thank you so much for coming on the podcast to share your story and some of your tips. It was awesome to talk to you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.